When you hear the term software architecture, what pops into your head? I bet it's a bunch of complicated diagrams, right? Boxes and arrows, a technical blueprint for a system. And look, you're not wrong, but that's just scratching the surface of a much, much bigger picture. Okay, let's get into it.
So what is it really? Let's think about building a house for a second. Does the architect just draw up the floor plan and then, walk away? No way. They have to think about the materials, the budget, the local building codes, even how the family is going to live in that space. Well, software architecture is the exact same thing. It is so much more than just a drawing.
And here's the key idea, the thing that unlocks everything else. Software architecture doesn't exist in a bubble. It's the meeting point, the intersection of three completely different worlds: the technical world of code, the project world of teams and deadlines, and the business world of profits and goals. Once you see that, the whole picture just clicks into place.
So, here's how we're going to break it down. We're going to take a journey through these different contexts. We'll start right at the core, with the tech stuff. Then we'll zoom out to see how architecture steers the project itself, how it helps the business win, and finally, how the architect has to perform this incredible balancing act between all of them.
First up, the technical blueprint. This is the bedrock, the foundation. Just like the laws of physics determine what you can do with a building, the software architecture sets the fundamental rules of the game for a system. It decides right from the get-go what that system can do and what it will never be able to do.
And that brings us to this really critical idea: quality attributes. Now, these aren't about what the system does, like it lets you buy a product. No, this is all about how well it does it. Is it fast? Is it secure? Is it easy to use? The choices you make in your architecture super early in the process will either make these qualities possible or literally impossible to add on later.
For example, let's talk about performance. Imagine you're building an e-commerce site. You absolutely need it to be lightning fast during a huge Black Friday sale, right? Well, the architecture has to be designed for that from day one. You have to plan out how all the pieces talk to each other and share resources under stress. You can't just sprinkle some performance dust on at the end. It just doesn't work that way.
Or what about availability? Think about your banking app. It absolutely, positively cannot go down. The architecture has to be bulletproof. That means building in redundancy, designing components that are smart enough to see when another part fails and can just seamlessly take over. That's not a feature you add. It's a deep, fundamental part of the design.
And the same exact thing goes for usability. To get that great user experience, you need to be able to change the look and feel, the buttons, the colors, the layout, without breaking the entire system. And a good architecture does that by building a strong wall between the user interface and all the heavy lifting logic in the background.
Okay, let's zoom out a level to our next context. We're moving from the nitty-gritty technical stuff to see the architecture in the project. This is where the architecture stops being just a diagram and becomes a living, breathing guide that the whole team uses to actually build the thing.
Now, a lot of people think architecture is just step number 3 on this list, but that's totally wrong. Architecture is woven through every single one of these activities. It's not a box you check off. It shapes the requirements by telling you what's even possible, and it guides the developers by giving them a clear map of what to build. It really is the roadmap for the entire journey.
And that whole journey starts with the most important question you can possibly ask. Why? Why are we building this in the first place? The answer to that is what we call the business case. It's the document that justifies the entire project, and it's the architect's very first clue about what really matters. Now, this diagram might look a little intense at first, but the idea behind it is actually super simple. You start on the left with an initiative. That's the thing you want to do. And then you have to draw a clear line from that to an effect on the right. The good stuff like saving money or growing the business. This whole process forces you to prove that the project is actually worth doing before a single line of code gets written. All right, time to zoom out one last time to the 30,000-foot view. Architecture and the business. This is where we connect all those low-level tech decisions we talked about directly to the biggest, most important strategic goals of the entire company. Let's just be real for a second. We don't build software just for fun. Every single system has a purpose. It's built to solve a problem, to create a new opportunity, or to help an organization hit its goals, whether that means making a profit, serving customers better, or getting a leg up on the competition.
And this diagram right here, this is the golden thread. It shows the chain of command perfectly. It all starts with the business goals at the top. Those goals tell you which quality attributes are most important, and those attributes, as we saw before, are what force you to design the architecture in a very specific way. It's a direct, traceable line from a business plan right down to the code. I love this example from the source material because it just nails it. You don't just say, I want a fast system. A good architect asks, okay, why do you need it to be fast? And the answer isn't technical, it's all business. We need it to be fast because that will make us better than our competition and help us win more customers. See that? The business goal, capturing market share, translates directly into a technical requirement.
And here's a wild thought. This connection can be so deep that the architecture actually starts to shape the company itself. If your software is built with a separate piece for the user interface and another for the database, don't be surprised when a UI team and a database team pop up in the office. The blueprint for the software literally becomes the blueprint for how people are organized.
Okay, let's bring it all home and put the pieces back together with the architect's balancing act. The architect can't just live in one of these worlds. Their whole job is to stand right in the middle, to be a translator who understands the language of technology, the language of the project, and the language of the business, and then blend them all into one smart, coherent plan.
So, if you remember one thing, it's this. On a technical level, the architecture sets the limits of what's possible. For the project, it's the map that guides the team. And for the business, it's a powerful tool for achieving real-world goals. A great software architecture isn't just one of these things. It's all three, all at once.
And that leaves me with one final thought for you. The next time you're scrolling through your favorite app, just pause for a second. Think about the invisible decisions, the architectural choices that are working behind the scenes to make it fast, to make it reliable, to make it feel so easy to use. What business goal is that software really trying to achieve? And how is its hidden structure making it all possible?